Welcome back, everybody. So we just got two more sneak peeks for the Walking Dead season 9 finale, which is super surprising because usually we get like two sneak peeks for the episode, but now we got four in total. I talked about two other sneak peeks that we got. It's a video on my channel. If you want to go check it out after this, go ahead. But we just got two more sneak peeks, one from IGN and the other one from comicbookresources.com. So we're going to break it down, talk about these sneak peeks in this video today. But before I do begin, if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, hit that subscribe button. But let's get started. So we're going to start off with the sneak peek from comicbookresources.com. And this one is actually really funny. It's back at Alexandria where Sadiq, Gabriel, Rosita, Eugene, and Negan are. And Negan is kind of teasing the group because of their whole love quadrangle. And it's actually super funny. So it looks like they're all staying together in this one place. I believe this is the council room. They're all staying there because of the storm outside. We have like Judith looking outside the window, and Negan, like I said, he's being like classic Negan and just being a brat. And Negan is basically trying to get in Gabriel's head, and he's saying like Sadiq and Rosita are still like messing around behind his back. But Gabriel just quickly dismisses it and says like, you know, we're all mature here, you know, we're not going to be doing anything to jeopardize any friendships or respect. The whole like love quadrangle thing is super interesting and awkward now because all four of them survived the Pikes. And I'm going to be honest, I thought Rosita was going to be the one to die because she's the one in the center. Like everybody has a connection with her. You know, Gabriel is in a relationship with her. Sadiq has is going to have a baby with her. Eugene straight up likes her. And so that puts like Rosita right in the middle. And I thought she was going to be the one to die. And then everybody would like be super affected by that. But I guess not. They're all alive and it's going to be interesting. Also, based on the sneak peek, you can see that Rosita, her pregnancy is definitely more visible now. And that's because they did confirm today that there is going to be a bit of a time jump in episode 16, which is super crazy now because that almost makes like 10 years have gone by since the end of All Out War. It's insane to think about. Skybound actually did a fan mailbag today and somebody asked that question if there's going to be a time jump, and this is what they said specifically. They said, yes, as you can see in the picture above, Rosita is a lot more pregnant than she was in 9:15. So although it's not a major time jump, it's safe to say we've skipped ahead a couple months since the Pikes. So I actually like how they skipped a couple months. I think it makes sense for the story. First of all, we don't have to wait like 2 years for her to have a baby like we did for Maggie. I remember how frustrating that was. So many people were asking like, I guess some people didn't really understand though that in between season 6 and season 8 there was only like a couple months like skipped. So I guess some fans didn't understand that, so they were like, what the hell, where's Maggie's baby? But it's insane because in those two seasons only a couple months have gone by, and then in this one season like literally a decade has gone by. That's so crazy to me. And another reason I like the time jump is because it fits well with the Whisper War, because it looks like they haven't even crossed Alpha's border just yet, but in the next sneak peek that we're going to talk about, they're getting ready to do that. So you know, that's obviously going to trigger a Whisper War. Also, one more thing I want to talk about with this sneak peek before I move on is that it cuts to Eugene messing around with that radio again. He's not even really involved in the conversation. I mean, he is because he's part of the quadrangle, but he's doing his own thing, just messing around with that radio. And if they're stuck here during that storm, I'm assuming he's going to be messing with that radio pretty much the entire time. And I think by the end of this episode, I feel like the storm will go away, just because season 10 filming hasn't begun yet, and this whole thing, it's like a whole set, right? Like, are they gonna bring back all the storm, all the snow? I've talked about this in a previous video. I just don't see them bringing back the snow for season 10. I feel like it's gonna be like a one episode thing. So I feel like maybe by the end of this episode, when the snow clears out, Eugene might get a good signal and we're gonna hear that voice. Hopefully it's gonna be a Rick. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers. I don't want to know exactly, but I'm assuming it's gonna be a Rick because a lot of news articles and, you know, outlets who've already seen the episode, they're reporting there's gonna be like a big twist at the end of this episode, and I think that like the most logical thing would be with that radio, right? I think Norman Reedus also had like an interview and he said that, you know, it's gonna be like a huge twist, and then also Angela Kang said that the last scene of this season is gonna change everything for the characters. Like, what? There's obviously nothing to do with the Whisperers, so it's gonna change everything for the characters. The thing that jumps at me is Rick, so hopefully we do get Rick. But with that being said, let's move on and talk about the next sneak peek, because this is definitely interesting and sets up the Whisper War. Alright, so the next sneak peek is awesome, and it definitely sets up some major things I think is gonna happen in season 10 with some of these characters. But they're all inside of this building and they're looking at this map and they're trying to figure out a way to get home because they're running low on food and they're having difficulty, you know, traveling in the snow. And Aaron says Rick's bridge would have saved us, and it would have cut like half the day, of our travel time. So I love how they brought back Rick's bridge into the equation, just because that bridge was such a big deal in the first half of season 9. There was even like an episode titled The Bridge. So there was a big deal. Ultimately it was what saved everybody's life. Rick was willing to sacrifice his own life to save everybody, and I like how they brought it back to the point where if they had that bridge still, they would have easily been able to get home. Carol then says something very interesting. She says a lot of the lakes and ponds and creeks are frozen, so let's just travel through those. If we walk one by one, it'll be pretty easy. But then King Ezekiel says that that's a straight shot through Alpha's territory. Carol then says, we didn't agree to the territory. And then, Ezekiel's kind of worried about the war. And Carol says it's only going to be a few hours. And everybody kind of starts agreeing, like, Michonne says we have to go through the territory because, we're low on food. We have like a day's worth of food left. We need to go to the next way station. And then Daryl kind of agrees. So it looks like they are going to be going. And we also see that in the promo that they go through the territory. But man, I am worried about King Ezekiel because I know how The Walking Dead works. They have this formula where a character is against something, everybody else is like, let's do it. And then that character dies and they're like, oh shit, we shouldn't have done it. Most of the time, it's like opposite than what's going on here. Like characters want to fight or want to go to war and then they end up dying, which is what changes everybody else's mind. Like Richard and Benjamin from The Kingdom, they both died in the same episode and they were the ones who wanted to fight the saviors. And then that's what led King Ezekiel to go to war. So something similar could be happening here with King Ezekiel saying like we can't go there because that's crossing their territory and that's going to trigger a war, but everybody else is saying we have to. What if King Ezekiel is the one who dies? Like, I'm worried about this. I don't want him to die. I don't think he's going to die in the finale. That would be dumb to kill him in the finale. But he could be the thing that triggers the war because there still needs to be something huge, I think, to trigger, the Whisper War. So I definitely think there needs to be at least one more big death in order to trigger that Whisper War. Just because it's been a couple of months and they haven't gone to war yet. And you could say, yeah, they've been held back because of the snow. But when they're discussing it here in this sneak peek, it looks like it's like the first time they're kind of discussing it because Ezekiel's like, if we cross the territory, we're going to be triggering a war. And then Carol's like, we didn't agree to those terms. So like they kind of say it in a way they haven't really discussed it before, and Ezekiel's like, wait, if we go there, guys, we're gonna trigger the war. It's kind of like he was kind of informing them that. So I feel like they haven't really been discussing a war yet. So I do think one more death is gonna happen in order to cause that, war. Because they did the same thing with Abe. In the comics, Abe died where Denise died in the TV show with the arrow through her eye from Dwight. And when Abraham survived that, everybody was like, oh shit, okay, they're going to keep Abraham a little bit longer. He's a good character. Michael Collins is a great actor. And then 2 episodes later, he died from the hands of Negan. So I feel like they might do the same thing with Ezekiel, because I'm not going to lie, I was super shocked that Ezekiel survived. I know a lot of other people were also, because they were definitely setting him up, to die with the Pikes. Like Alpha and Ezekiel were literally hooking arms in episode 15 at the fair. Like I was losing my mind when I saw that. I was like, okay, Ezekiel's a goner 100%. No way he survives this. I mean, even during the trailer for episode 15, he was all over that. So they definitely set him up, like they made it seem like he was gonna die, and I feel like maybe obviously they did that to throw us off, but maybe he will actually die in season 10 to set up or to start and launch the Whisper War. I really hope he doesn't die in the finale. That's gonna suck because we just came off an episode where a ton of people died, and I don't think it's a smart move to kill him in the finale, but I definitely could see him dying in season 10 to start this war, because most of the time it's opposite, where like one character or 2 characters really want to go to war, and then once they die, that kind of triggers somebody else who didn't want to go to war. They're like, okay, you know what, these guys are really pushing for it, let's avenge their legacy or whatever, and then it could be opposite here, where Ezekiel is the one who doesn't want to go to war. He doesn't want to trigger a fight with the Whispers, but everybody else, maybe they don't want to trigger a war, but they still want to go into the territory because they don't give a shit about Alpha's rules and they just want to get home. So once they go to the territory, and then maybe Ezekiel ends up dying, and I hate to say it because I don't want to lose Ezekiel, but I have a feeling he will, because he's like the one odd man out. Everybody else is up for it. He doesn't want to do it. And if King Ezekiel dies going into the territory of the Whisperers, man, everybody's gonna be like, oh my goodness, we should have listened to him. he didn't even want to go into the territory, but he's the one who pays the price. And not only that, you know, the survivors aren't going to stand up for that. They're going to be like, hells no, you guys just can't be killing everybody who goes into your territory. But that is the whole point of the border. Like Alpha said, like anybody who crosses that border, if the Whisperer sees them, they're going to die. So I would be shocked if like all of them survived. Like, there's no way everybody makes it back home. Like, the Whisperer, somebody's going to see somebody and then end up dying. Like, I think that's what's going to set up the war. And I hate to say it, but just because King Ezekiel is the one character who is, like, denying it and he doesn't want to go through with it, and he's like, this isn't a good idea, guys, I feel like he's the one who might bite the dust. And just because a couple months have gone by and they haven't started a war yet, and like I said, yeah, you can blame it on the snow, but I just think one more big death is going to happen to absolutely trigger that Whisper war. And King Ezekiel is a big enough character to have a significant death to start that war, especially for Carol, who's gonna and possibly lose her husband, and then she already lost her son to the Whisperers. Like, she's not gonna have any of that. She's gonna definitely want to fight. But those were the 2 sneak peeks we got for the Walking Dead Season 9 finale. I definitely think that second one is setting up the Whisper War and possibly King Ezekiel's death. But let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts and opinions on it. I will leave the sneak peeks, like the links, in the description down below. If you want to check it out, by all means, go ahead and do so. Again, I am going to wrap it up there. So let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts and opinions on the sneak peeks. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. And for more Walking Dead content just like this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later.